Hey,
Hey,
what it look like, family,
What's going on, everybody?
What
yeah,
up?
happy
What
Friday.
up?
Happy
What up?
Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Cheers.
Cheers.
It was a long week. We want to welcome our special guest, not old, not new, been here. We just are welcoming him on another day. So not even another day, another hour, because he's usually on that Friday noon hour. Dr. Gallen is giving his 2 cents tonight. Yes. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Happy Friday to everyone. Always glad to be amongst friends and family and quite frankly, fellow fighters in this work.
Yes.
Giving you my 2 cents, my 5 cents, my 10 cents on this beautiful Friday with so many great things happening, but so many challenges ahead as it relates to our community and our children and quite frankly, the work that we have to do.
Yes, absolutely. And with that said, my goodness, we got some sad news this morning.
Yeah.
They went ahead and confirmed DMX passed. His organs began to shut down. But for a while, it was that they were trying to decide whether or not they were going to pull him off. The system. But his organs began to fail. And then, April, you read a statement from the family?
Yeah, I can't quote everything that they had, but they were just saying, thank you for everyone that he passed away. And they were saying he was surrounded by everybody, all of his children and his family. They were saying they were saddened to express that or tell that he had passed away, and he was placed on life support for the past few days.
But then there was also some controversy about he OD'd, and then they said no, that was not the case.
Right.
And then the news to kind of pick that narrative up, and they never continued that. They stayed with OD and never said that that he had a heart attack. That he what the family said happened.
Right. It was believable narrative because if you know the history of DMX and his struggles with drug addiction and how he was basically fighting those demons for an extremely long time in his life, then so when that dynamic was kind of attached to the narrative, it was relatively believable. I don't know if it was true or not. I'm just sad to see the brother go. And furthermore, after watching this whole Rough Riders, one of the Rough Riders like trilogies that came on BET, he talked about his upbringing. He talked about everything that he had been through, and he talked about being addicted to drugs and how that a demon just plagued him for a long time in his life. Sometimes it's just sad to see when people who have to fight that dynamic, how they're not able to overcome and inevitably succumb to that dynamic in their life. Like I said, it's just sad, and prayers up for him and his family and everybody that loved him. And then, he was a giant in the hip hop industry at one time. So it's just sad. He touched and a lot of people vibe to that music. You know what I'm saying?
Top 10. Yeah. Still.
I remember being in LA, and this is when I was still, playing ball, and would always have the little VIP section in the club or in the bars. And I remember walking into a club and going to the bar and I order a drink, and this guy comes next to me with a hoodie on, and he has some black glasses on, and he's right next to me, but all I can hear was, "Can I get a gin and tonic?" And no.
Isn't that crazy how he talks like that?
I turned and looked at him. He looked at me. He was just like this. "What up, dog?" And he walked away.
He talks.
It's so funny how his rap voice is his real voice. Like his rap voice is his real voice.
Did you see him and his daughter on the slingshot? Did y'all see that video clip? And he was like, "It's okay, Daddy's here. We all right, like that." And I'm like, "You really sound like that? Like you telling her to relax?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Like you telling her
Yes,
relax?
he
And you
does.
really sound
Listen,
like that."
his rendition of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is still an all-time Christmas
Oh
classic.
my God, it's a classic. A classic.
So silly.
Straight up classic.
One of the things I always like to look at when I look at either celebrities or people who have had some level of success is where they came from. My experience with DMX, and I don't know how many of you are going to confess that before they came to spring break, came to Miami Beach for spring break, we used to all go to Cancun, Mexico. And I got anybody here? Let's go to Cancun.
No, I didn't go to
Freak Nick.
There you go. Okay. So that was about 1995, 96, and Rough Riders had not even established themselves. And DMX and them were out there passing out promotional cards promoting who they were at the time. So to watch where they came from, the grind. I mean, you talk about hustling, like guys walking around passing out cards, giving out CDs, trying to really promote who they were. And they came in the game now. They came deep. They came deep, and we were like, who are these guys? But to kind of see how they put in the work and how he really elevated and to watch his journey. But again, as you say, those demons and drugs, they'll catch up with you at some particular point. And prayers to his family.
I wasn't at Cancun, but I'll piggyback on Dr. Gallon. He was at the Rough Riders clique was at How Can I Be Down in Miami.
Oh my God, you remember that?
Yeah.
You remember that? I do remember the one they came down here too. I remember that. Yeah.
You know, all of them had their ATVs and bikes and the whole 9 yards. And
they tore
up Beach. DMX is just walking around like regular people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a face. So he was definitely like a man of the people. Like even as he became famous, he could still be, like to Roy's point, he could still be found at like bars by himself or different venues, kind of just hanging out. He wasn't really pretentious like that. So he was a real down to earth cat.
To that, my DMX deal. My wife is a huge DMX fan, and
I remember that.
Huge. Like, I swear to God, she like him more than she like me. But
we all can say that too, though. We like your wife more. We like you too.
That is ridiculous.
And I'm cool with that. But he was coming here to Wynwood, and she was like, "Oh, we gotta go. We going to see DMX. We going to see." So I bought the tickets and stuff, and then we get there. So of course, we're going to see DMX, and we're 40 plus years old. So we go at 9 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Because because
you old. That's why.
Right. Because by midnight, hey boy, we halfway home. Because hey boy, I'm going to bed soon. So we go to the concert. They got all these local dudes on and all. He looking like, hey dog, security, my man. When is X getting on stage? He was like, oh, he ain't getting on till about 11:30. We was like, oh, you tripping.
That's hilarious.
So finally he comes on. Man, he did about 2 songs, and we looked at each other. We was like, you good? I'm good. Okay, let's go.
Time to go.
And we did it. But he came out to Rough Riders Anthem, which is what I wanted to hear. So he came out to Rough Riders Anthem.
Hey, you got your money's worth. You got your money.
Right. Exactly.
And Justina, did you do anything at any of the stuff that we did during that time? Because I don't remember ever being like in the same room with him.
I don't know. I can't
I can't put my finger on it, but it just doesn't seem right.
I was getting ready to say, it seems as if he should have been at something we were doing.
Well, right? I mean, I saw him at Lenox Mall during All-Star Weekend in Atlanta, so he was in the same city.
Right.
He was there when we were doing something then. Yeah.
Lenox.
I mean, I saw him in the airport one time in DC, and his homeboy was carrying the radio while he was dancing to it.
That is hilarious.
I was like, man, why are you doing that in him?
Head scratcher.
Right.
Well, look, that's hilarious. I know I was not by myself on Easter Sunday watching Versus.
Not at all. Not at all.
My goodness.
Hey
Wait
man,
a minute. But
one of the best.
did y'all see that they did wardrobe change? Not only
Yeah.
did Steve do wardrobe, but
Ronnie
Big
and Ernie.
look, Ron Isley, Mr. Big said, "Wait a minute, we got to change our outfit for the second half. Okay,
For
we
the
got to
second half.
bring them this fire. Okay."
Uncle
I said,
Ron did not come to play with y'all, okay? He did
did
not
not.
come to play
No.
at all.
Well, all I
Mm-mm.
know is I didn't know who he was until somebody put this in our group chat.
I did not know that was him either.
I don't know who that old man is, but that dude
But
right
he
there
looks
is
clean.
bringing it. I
Listen,
the doggone cane and everything. But then I'm like, well, I don't know who that is. And I don't know who
Exactly.
me,
put that in there. Yes, bro, he gave me life too. Who put that in the chat? Because
I don't.
like, finally, that's who he was. I had no idea.
But do you remember me yelling? I was like, "That's him." I started yelling because I didn't know that was him.
I still did not. None of it added up until I saw this is what he used to look like, and this is what he looked like now.
Because
Now,
what they were doing was showing D Nice while they were playing the music. They were showing D
You
Nice
mean
and Steve
DJ
Harvey.
Nice? DJ Nice?
I mean,
Right.
No, he said what Steve Harvey said.
I said
DJ Nice?
D Nice, but I said D Nice. Steve Harvey said DJ Nice or something
DJ
like that.
Nice.
Yeah, but they were showing
yes.
DJ D Nice.
I mean, he is a DJ. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
It's-
I mean, but that's not
Technically.
his name though.
Technically,
It's okay.
And he was with BDP, and he was the DJ for
Oh, his
BDP.
name? Are you kidding me?
What
He was
happened?
with BDP.
She said he had
Oh.
a whole facelift.
That's fine. No problem. It looks awesome. Listen, but look, in his song, he said, "Call me D Nice." So his mama call him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. His name D Nice. So they just kept showing D Nice, and they kept showing Steve Harvey, and I'm like, "Hello, that's
Shoot.
not who we here to look at."
And D Nice getting paid. He was on a
He
Ford
sure
commercial.
is.
He was on a Ford commercial.
He is on a Ford commercial. He has his commercial.
He was with Steve Harvey this morning talking about his new single that he put out. We talked about it on the show a couple weeks back. Yeah.
Nice.
But Roy and I
Ron,
can
isn't
relate
he
to
80
Salt and Pepper
plus?
Beards. So shout out to
Isn't he
shout
like
out to
older
Bearded
than
Salt and
80?
That's right.
He's
That's right.
78,
Oh,
78,
okay.
79.
Thought
You
they
said
said
what?
he was 80 plus. I was about to say,
He's
good Lord.
78, 79.
Yeah.
No,
He's still a great.
Huh?
Okay.
he's not 80.
He
Okay.
looked great.
He does look good.
He looks real good. He looks
He
real
looks
good.
great.
He
Looks real
absolutely
good.
did. And then I woke up the next morning to like so much negative
79.
comment about Steve Harvey.
Thank you, Jody.
And I said, you know what? I'm under this doggone cloud because all I know is we had some restaurant for Easter dinner. And then the whole family came and sat in front of the TV. My mama, my daddy, all of the kids. And we could actually watch TV and it wasn't a basketball game together or a football game together. I was like, wow, this is great. And it was Earth, Wind, and Fire and the Isley Brothers. And so, you know, P. and G-Man was like, yes. And I was like, oh, this is so nice.
Yeah.
My little bubble was pop. My little bubble was pop.
That's great. That's
Nice.
great.
Nice.
No, I couldn't watch him. He was doing too much.
Yeah,
Yes.
the patty was everything.
Avis, doggone Spice Adams and Affion and Godfrey. Godfrey sounded like Steve Harvey. He has Steve Harvey down pat. You hear me? Oh my goodness. So later on, I don't know if I put this in the group, but they started Timberland and Swiss Beats started talking about how after every verses Spice and Avion, they both they do a parody afterwards, and they said we just gonna have to bring them on board with verses.
Oh wow!
So now they were like, and we don't just talk about stuff. So whenever we feel in our spirit, we go ahead and bless whoever we feel in our spirit. So they're saying that they're gonna bring that as part of their whole versus thing, their versus universe.
We ain't even talking to you, Dana.
Dana.
Look at Dana.
Oh, Dana. Dana.
No, you got
Sorry,
free.
Dana.
No, you got free time, Dana. You always home.
You taking care of those beautiful
He taking care of
grandkids.
the grandbabies, and he out back in the garden.
They tried to say that Ron Isley shouldn't have performed the song that
R. Kelly wrote.
shouldn't have performed the song that R. Kelly produced.
But that's what the younger generation knows him about.
But listen, let me tell you something. R. Kelly resurrected Ron Isley's career.
He sure did.
Absolutely did. To another generation, though.
To another
Yes.
generation.
Yes. Change
And
I agree.
his wife was Ron Isley's wife was part of the whole R. Kelly music thing. Her group was JS, and they what's his name? R. Kelly produced some type of songs for them a lot. So they kind of
know that.
met and meshed in that whole little world right there.
I thought Brian Ice's wife was his ex is Angela Wimbush.
I didn't say his ex. I said his wife.
Now you dating yourself, T. Yes, we know his ex is
His
Angela.
wife. Yeah, his wife, current wife.
Oh, his current wife. I got you.
She's
I got you.
for a long time, maybe about 96, I want to think. It's for a while.
Got you.
So, yeah.
T came through like, he was on Motown, right? You know he's on Motown. Back in '66.
Look, we about to have
people going on Soul Train, right?
We was about to have a My Two Cents versus Latif versus TT.
I remember when the group was called Jasper Isley.
That's right.
That is funny.
The Caravan of Love. Come on, baby.
You know they was on Soul Train, right? You know they was on Soul Train.
You know they was on Soul Train, right?
You know he put on them sequence outfits, them sequence jumpsuits, right?
Absolutely, T. We remember all that, T.
All I can say is Steve Harvey, he was having a Tom Joyner moment, because he felt like he was part of the band. He was back there. He was just getting. I said he like Tom Joyner.
When Steve put on that mink coat, I knew he was 12 years old in his mind. Like, can I put on your jacket? Let me put on your jacket real quick.
That's crazy.
Oh boy, he said, I knew my brother was going to enjoy that. You know, my brother, this is what he was talking about this morning on the radio. He said his brother is 10 years older than him. And he said that verses was the best. But all he had to say was when they took that break, he had to go ahead and lay down and take a nap because it was going a little too long.
Girl.
Yes, he said
that, Steve?
Huh?
Steve said that?
Yes, this is what he was just talking about this morning.
Steve pull a April Garrett on them?
No, not his brother.
His brother.
Oh,
April Jesus.
Oh, I was ready to say. Woo.
April, I'm just saying, you're talking about people who are 30 and 20 years older than you, April. I need you to know.
I'm like, you don't pull an April Garrett.
Be better, April.
I gotta take a nap. Give me a second. Let me take a nap.
But no, look, you've never lived until you've taken a nap while you have a party going on at your house.
Yeah.
Facts.
I'm not talking about her.
In the words of Usher, these are my confessions. Okay. Go ahead.
Watch this. This is my confession.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
Where's Jessica at?
Oh, she in the room
No one knows.
Right quick. She'll be out in a little bit.
Yeah.
We ain't talking to you, Dana.
You know what I'm saying? With a new outfit on.
Right.
Yeah. Look.
And he merged for the second half of the party in outfit number 2.
I had the perm then, so you know that I was sleeping like this, trying to make sure I ain't mess my hair up. So I got it all fresh and clean. Dwight, bring us up to date on what's going on with the trial.
Yeah, so again, the defense hasn't still bringing up witnesses. I shouldn't say the defense. I'm sorry. The prosecution's been bringing witnesses consistently. So remember last week we talked about all the folks who are eyewitnesses. This week was really dedicated to kind of subject experts, like medical experts, the police Derek Chauvin's police chief admittedly got up there and said he wasn't following protocol. He should have gotten off the man's neck. The doctor admitted that George Floyd died from asphyxiation instead of all the speculation around, what else was in his system. So this is really kind of, a lot of people feel very confident that Chauvin's going to, not going to be able to come back from this. It will be interesting to see what the defense raises when they present their case, because at the end of the day, if they do create reasonable doubt, he could get off, and that's the challenge of the legal system, is that if his defense, and I want to stress that a little bit, because the thing that's really problematic about his defense is that his defense is being paid for through his police union, even though he's no longer a police officer.
Wow.
Yeah, and so that's a whole everything's.
But I'm wondering if that service is like I'll just say this, and I don't mean to cut you off. Like it sounds like, when you first hear it, but what happens is when you're part of the union or you work for a company, you can pay for legal services that will cover you for an extended period of time too.
If you have that insurance, sure, but this is $1 million supplemental thing that people have paid into on behalf of his defense. So people have paid like a GoFundMe to this particular subset of money that's being used for his defense. And so it really kind of lets you know how alarming and how many folks are out there willing to support Chauvin, even though everyone saw him murder a man on live TV.
I saw something where it was a black gentleman up there, and they were saying that the man's knee was not on his neck, it was on his shoulder blade or something. Did you see that?
Well, the technique is supposed to be on the shoulder blade, which is what they were explaining. The one guy, he said that when they do that particular restraint or submission, they're supposed to put it on the shoulder blade, and it's supposed to come across, I guess, his neck or something like that. But this time it was literally on his neck.
Yeah, normally that technique is supposed to be middle of the back, small of the back, shoulder blade. It's supposed to be in a non-lethal area whenever they're supposed to apply that pressure, and it's not supposed to be applied after the man is handcuffed. So that's really the challenge with the case, right? Is that he was already restrained and he continued to apply the pressure, and that's what all the police officers who were on the stand were basically talking about. Was like, the man was helpless at that point. Like, you had him restrained, you had officers there to support you, yet so you had no rationale.
Right, you were in fear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you this. That man gets off.
Oh,
you
the problem.
You can forget it. You can forget about. You think them folks is. You think Black Lives Matter and people are all over the place. You think people stormed in DC.
It's gonna go down.
Say less. That's all I'm gonna say. Say less. Say less.
You talking about COVID-19 and shelter in place? You talk about COVID-19 and shelter in place? We gonna have to shelter in place.
I'm telling you now, Roy, and I think they know that. I think that they're well aware of the fact that this is one that they cannot drop the ball on, because if they do, this country may never recover from that.
Oh, they never will.
They never recover from
that. No.
So if you look at McDuffie, the McDuffie trial, everybody is well aware of the McDuffie trials down here. Right. That was one of the worst riots. Miami.
People who are not privy to the history of Miami who do tune in.
So Arthur McDuffie was an insurance salesman, and he was riding his motorcycle. I believe he ran a red light or a stop sign or something. And
something very minor.
It was a minor traffic violation. And and they pursued him in a chase, and he did try to get away, what have you, but eventually he stopped and pulled over, and the traffic stop escalated immensely to the point where he ended up getting killed. Well, the things after that, what happened? All of the officers
ended up killing him.
Right. They ended up they killed him.
The police murdered Arthur McDuffie.
The police murdered Arthur McDuffie. But on top of the murder, they also tried to cover it up, and they ran over his motorcycle with the police cars to try and make it seem like he had an accident, and he died from the accident. Well, all those officers went on trial, and some of them even turned, on the police officers saying, yeah, he did it, and yeah, he did the cover up, and he did this, what have you, and all of them walked. Well, then Miami erupted.
Yes, Jody.
Miami erupted into a big old riot, and it was the worst riot.
Overtown, though. It was only the black community, like.
Well, no, it wasn't Overtown. It wasn't Overtown. It was in Liberty City.
Liberty City as well.
And Brownsville.
The riots were only in black neighborhoods.
Yeah, they were. That's basically what I'm getting to.
It was.
What happened was they called Athlete Range to calm the protesters down once they read the verdict, and that didn't work. And I mean that they built a step stool for her to get up with her little self to try to and it didn't work.
Right, it didn't work. So my point is that was our worst in Miami. If this dude walks, you're going to see that times 1,000 across the country.
Agreed.
Rodney, what's his name?
Rodney King. Let me tell you, when that happened, I remember being in school, and when all that stuff went down, and you find out a lot about people during that time too, and especially your white friends. I mean, I had friends that hey, are we still friends? Are we okay? And it's like I don't know what to do, but it just. The only thing the challenge that I see, that the problem that I have is I don't understand why black folk want to tear up their own neighborhood.
Yeah,
but what you saw,
it just doesn't make sense.
Hold on. I'm going to bring light to that. But what you saw the last time,
let's make it make sense.
Exactly. What you saw the last time was they did not burn up in their neighborhoods when the George Floyd thing jumped off.
I'm talking about then. Yes.
So to make light of it back then, you talk about they're burning up their own neighborhoods. They don't own nothing in there. They're renting.
I get that. But you still live there.
All of the corner shops. All of the corner
shops. You still live there.
Let me finish. All of the corner shops are owned by Arabic, Asians,
yeah.
The liquor stores are owned by Asians. So you don't own none. So you don't have. I mean, why would
vested interest per se?
You don't have.
I mean, but still, here's the thing: it's still your community.
But I still have to walk outside my door and see the smoke and the rubble in my own neighborhood. Why would I want to do that
today about this? What you're talking about, and an eyewitness who was there at every occurrence said that they went to different people to let them know this is not what you need to do. They also went to the business owners to tell them you need to shelter your business because this is getting ready to happen. They said this was before the internet. All they had was a fax machine. No, not a fax machine. That was the Miami boycott, which was a little later. But anyway, the point about it was when this person was trying to tell the people, the potential protesters / rioters, not to do what they were going to do, it was not that we don't own anything. It was that they were so angry that they could not think rationally about what they were going to do. And they just wanted to tear stuff up.
I think that's a valid point, Ms. Markins, but I also think that there is credence to the fact that when we talk about our own communities, we don't have a vested financial interest in it from the standpoint of Black businesses being the pillars of our communities. So where a lot of times a neighborhood may be Black, but the financial and economic engines that drive those communities, that drive our communities, are 9 times out of 10 not owned by Black people. So I think that there is a lack of accountability and a lack of reverence for the community in that respect. But I also do believe that you're correct in the sense that, when you get upset or when you have been perpetually disenfranchised and made to feel as a second-class citizen, then you tend to just need to be heard. You tend to want to be heard, and the rioting, the violence, the destruction, the carnage gives voice and rise to the voiceless. And it's a culmination of what has been rising and what has been transpiring in our communities for years and years and years, to be made as subservient second-class citizens. And now, for lack of a better phrase, people just have had enough. They can't take it anymore.
Well, I just want to add some historical context, right? Black folks learn rioting from white folks. Let's start.
Oh, absolutely.
And what I mean by that is, I'm not even talking about like some old Boston Tea Party stuff. I'm talking about Bloody Summer of 1919. I'm talking about Rosewood. I'm talking about Tulsa.
Yeah, KKK.
Where you had white insurgents coming into Black communities and burning those communities down. What I would say is that by the time you get to the Watts riot of 65 or the riots that happened after the murder of Martin Luther King
in Detroit,
it was by design that you had Black communities being isolated in terms of how those communities were destroyed. So you have people that are enraged by something with a lack of access to any other place. You got to remember, in 1965, 1968, you still had restrictive covenants, meaning that Black people could not physically move into white neighborhoods. So the idea of walking into or burning a white neighborhood because you were outraged was a no-no, was a legal no-no. So by the time you get to McDuffie, 92 Watts riots, 92 LA riots, you still have basically the same mentality. I would definitely tell folks to go check. There's a documentary called Burn, MF or Burn, that Showtime produced a few years ago that talks about literally the arc from the Watts riots of 65 to the 92 LA riots, that literally delves into that point. The idea that it is deeply rooted psychology as to why Black people burn their own communities during that time period. But Latif's point, now folks got skateboard scooters or anything else, and they are not torching their own communities anymore. That's the bigger fear about the Chauvin trial.
Exactly.
Is they've already seen through the summer of 2020, folks ain't marching through the hood.
They're not.
Folks are marching downtown, business district, financial districts,
everywhere.
They are like, is that a Bank of America? I'm torching that. You know what I'm saying? Is that a
CVS? Is that a CVS? Is that a Walgreens?
Representative of a corporate infrastructure is in danger, and that's real. And I'm not endorsing that, but what I'm saying is this is different. This is going to be a fundamentally different circumstance.
Speaking to what you're talking about, DeSantis saw that and came out in September during all of the protesters with the trial. Not even the trial, with the George Floyd murder, and decided to come up with this proposed legislation that ultimately just this week passed the House. Yeah.
And just passed the Senate committee too. So it's
isn't that against your right to protest and your freedom of speech and to gather? Isn't this like a little bit against what the Constitution says you can do?
So what they've done is they call it an anti-riot bill. but they haven't defined what a riot is. What they have defined in the bill is that if, let's say, we all gather on a corner and we start protesting, just literally holding up signs protesting. Somebody comes to the protest or says that they're protest adjacent and decides to go rob a 7-Eleven. The bill says that all of us will be liable and all of us could be arrested for the actions of the person who may not have even been a part of our group, right? And so that's the dangerous part of this legislation. I mean, there's so many dangerous parts. Another dangerous part is if we decide to obstruct traffic as a show of civil disobedience, if someone runs us over, they're not liable for running us over, right? And it's like those kinds of things in the bill are so problematic where a protester can now be subject to almost 15 years of incarceration for the protest if the bill were to pass. So it violates not only your First Amendment rights on some levels, it violates Fourth Amendment rights, it violates your Sixth Amendment rights, it violates so many rights. But again, this is how white supremacy shows up in politics, right? And this is how we got to be
right.
But this is
because it boils down to the fact that they weren't adamant about passing these kind of laws after Charlottesville. You know what I'm saying? You didn't make any mention of this kind of stuff after Charlottesville.
But this is my point.
Well taken.
But this is my point though. So I hope they apply this law when the insurrection people are marching and what have you, and somebody just happens to, if they're blocking traffic and somebody just happens to just clip about 5-6 of them.
That's crazy.
And this is my point. And so my point is, karma is always undefeated, and she is never lost. So all I'm saying is, be careful of what you pass, because what reap shall be sown.
I hear you, Teef. But here's the problem: is that we've already seen the discrepancy. Right? You still have Black Lives Matter protesters who did not kick over a trash can, did not do anything, who are still have charges pending for bumped up charges, whether it is resisting arrest with violence, whether it is anything they want to tack on. You literally have Capitol rioters and insurrectionists that are sitting at home right now
watching our show.
Who were on camera looking dead, like videotaped themselves, who are sitting at home. And again, I got to emphasize the notion of like, this is how white supremacy shows up. And the reason they can feel so confident to pass something like this is that they know it will be applied inequitably. If they know it will be applied to Black people disproportionately or to brown people disproportionately who are doing nothing but acting in their own First Amendment right, versus that of folks, like, you got to remember, they literally put protections in this bill that don't include the damage of buildings like the Capitol. Yeah. However, it does include if you try to take down a Confederate statue, you're going to jail. You understand? Like, they put that in the bill.
Charges.
Well, I mean, and I think the other thing too that we pray and hope that doesn't happen. We pray that the right thing is done, right? But if it doesn't, I mean,
right thing is never done.
We understand that, but we're also seeing really who America really is. And it's gonna.
Well, we know who America is.
We know who it is, but it's gonna shift the relationship. It's gonna shift it far left to where I don't see how you can come back from something like that. I mean,
you can't.
Listen, if y'all just alive right here when we just had Trump as president, all the stuff that happens, you be like, what the hell? How can that happen? Right. All of this stuff it can happen, and we are gonna be amazed. It can happen,
Kevin,
and we're gonna be so mad.
What are you talking about? April 11th, they're gonna do some protest riot.
Yeah, I saw that comment. I wasn't aware of that.
I don't know what that means.
Why you know about that?
I think he was saying that I guess there's a plan.
There's a plan for some white supremacists
to come out. White supremacists to come out and protest overtly in major cities around the country. Like, that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you this: the protester today is not just you and I, right?
Right.
So that's a whole nother dynamic on top of what we got going on. It's not just you and I.
But I want to clarify
To
something.
your point,
Kevin's
go ahead.
asking. Kevin's asking, has the law been applied yet? And what I'm saying about the driving and hitting people while they're in traffic? No, sir.
Knocking them off.
The law has not passed yet.
Don't go out there doing that.
If
Don't do that.
you
Don't be
take
involved.
your whip or your rental and try to run these
Don't do
folks
it.
down, good friend, you will end up incarcerated. Unlike these
Don't
white
do it.
folks.
Don't do it.
Don't get it twisted.
Just wait. Don't wait for. Don't do that.
But to Roy's point, the protester of today is not the protesters yesterday. Also, the African American community of today is not the African American community of yesterday.
Right,
Amen.
right.
So,
amen.
So point being,
Weeds carries weapons.
You ain't got no more cheeks to turn.
Right. You can go out there. You can go out there. You can go out there and protest, and you can run up on somebody thinking that it's okay, that we are still listening to Martin Luther King, and he is a great man and always been a great man.
Yeah. Have you ever met John Wayne?
But I am not. I do not, and I profess this. I do not turn my cheek, and when I do turn my cheek, when I come back the other way,
watch out.
You better be done.
Oh,
you better not be there. Don't be there when my face turn back around. You got don't be there.
But to Kevin,
John Wick.
But to Kevin, hey, Kevin, since you're watching, staying your ground is still a law in Florida. So if you feel unsafe,
100%, 100%, 100%.
If you feel your safety is threatened around these white folks,
Oh, look, he put the thing there, everything.
Put the link.
Oh,
shout out, Kev. See you, Kev.
For my life.
Thank you, Kev. Appreciate
Say
that.
it loud. Say it out loud, real loud. I'm in fear for my life.
I treat it like the American Express card.
Never leave home without it.
Yeah.
I treat it like the American Express card. I never leave home
Never
without
leave
it.
home without it.
I would advise you to tread lightly.
Hey, John Wick lives in Cutler Bay.
Not John Wick.
Where our time is going, and before we get off tonight, I have got to make sure that we make sure we get a little pettiness in here, because we gotta have a little petty. Gotta have a little petty. Did y'all?
Oh, Paul Pierce.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know what was going on last night until I had a conversation with Marcus, and he told me what was going on.
Paul.
Listen, Paul didn't do nothing wrong.
What?
Paul did not do nothing wrong. Paul was enjoying life.
Just like all y'all West Coast dudes.
He didn't do nothing wrong.
BS.
Paul was on his own ooh-wee. That's what it was. He was on his own ooh-wee, but he just had strangers behind him. He was videotaping himself. There was strangers behind him.
Paul works for Disney.
Listen, man.
Paul works for Disney, my friend.
I just got this one thing.
Get your husband, all right?
You should be here, girl. You're supposed to be here.
Our cousin said everything got to be posted, got to be on live, got to be whatever. You go out and have your fun. Live your life. YOLO. All of that.
Y'all, he was feeling so good.
Why you internet yelling, Ebony?
Understand how good he was feeling?
Why you internet yelling at
everybody? I support strippers and single moms like the next black man. I really do. I support them. I support them, right? But however, I don't need my support. I don't need my support to be video documented.
Reverend Battle, you won't be like this.
We can't go past that comment, Mal.
What's that?
Reverend Battle, you won't be like this.
Come on now.
Miss Markins, I am a man of the people.
It's just
I support single mothers in the naked hustle and the strippers, but I don't need my support documented on
I don't
IG Live. I don't need
understand.
that.
Why do the strippers have to be single mothers? That's my question.
Well, I didn't say that they have. I didn't say that they have to be. I just
No,
he
he
said
said
what
that's
he
who
would
he
support. What he supports.
He said,
I've supported a few scholarship recipients in my lifetime.
And I he was making a reference to Diamond on Players Club. He was making
absolutely.
Miles as a specific genre.
That's all I'm saying.
There are several nurses and doctors in which I've supported throughout my career as well.
Exactly.
And so I
know nothing.
Go ahead, Bishop.
Thank you, man.
Have done their deals, and they have done extremely
well. What kind of deals are you talking about?
I prayed for him in the champagne room in the VIP room. I prayed.
Listen, y'all getting too deep. Y'all know this is video recording.
In which I've done.
This is just like sitting there with your phone in your face. Y'all
well, here's the truth behind it all. Here's the truth behind it all. When you're a multimillionaire and you got everything you want and everything you can take that home. Realistically, you could have did that at your house. You could have did that at your house. You didn't have to record it. Do like guys like Derek Jeter. When you come into my crib, give me the phone. Let's put the phone away.
That's right.
Let's put everything away. And this is my business. And that's why Paul Pierce is sitting at home watching my 2 cents right now.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, Lemon Pepper Lou is in the same situation in the bubble, but he ain't film it though. So he's still playing.
Right.
Paul Pierce out here, but you can't work. ESPN is owned by Disney, my friend. You can't be out here.
Disney.
With the magical place.
Listen.
What happened? What did you think was going to happen? Now
if you ever work for ESPN or ABC,
he was feeling too good. He was feeling
let
too
it
good.
go. Play in your mind.
Well, he was TT. He was high. He was high.
I know. I'm saying
that's
he
exactly
was feeling too good. He rational thoughts weren't happening at this time.
No, listen. I'm gonna tell you what Paul Pierce.
You need your people around you that don't participate in stuff like that. To be like, hey, give me your phone. Are you crazy?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm gonna tell you this. Paul Pierce was resigning. That's what he was doing that night. He just was resigning. He was resigning.
No,
but Jessica,
listen.
These friends are not loyal. You need to cut.
Well, your friend like Dwight.
You don't need to call them no more.
Ever.
If we're gonna
your
stay
friend like
paid,
Dwight? Be like, I'm gonna drive you, dog. Like
that's it.
So you don't have to do all of that.
On the petty front, though, I need to also throw some shade at Hubert Davis because
throw it.
Can he come to the front of the congregation? Can he come to the front of the congregation? Is what we're trying to say.
Oh boy.
Yes.
Hey,
so we can bury his behind and send him on his way. He gonna be he over there with Tiger Dwight.
Congratulations.
He over there with Tiger.
Hold on. Calm down.
I'm not calming down. I'm not calming down. He over there with
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations. Okay, now go Dwight.
I'm just saying. I appreciate you getting a job, brother, but you can't show up to the press conference. You cannot show up to the press conference, family reunion, church gathering,
barbecue
show, HBCU homecoming, talking reckless like you do at a press conference, sir.
No, but this is the thing, though.
Wait,
sir.
Friend, you heard what I said. Get him away, like you say. Get him away.
Get him away.
Get him away.
Yo,
we don't talk about him no more. He is
well,
you can't go to the cookout.
Well, here's the problem though. The problem that Hubert Davis did, you missed the point at that press conference. You really made it about your wife and everybody else. So you missed the point. Listen, you come in there because look, you work for UNC for 9 years. You played in the NBA for umpteen years. You got great coaching experience. You was all that at UNC, all American. You have all these credentials on why you got that job. And then what you did was you shifted and said, "I love my white wife," which you kind of threw under the bus. Because if you do a search on Hubert Davis, it says Hubert Davis' wife now, right? So you missed the whole point, Hubert. Like, get up in there and just talk about coaching.
And that was my thing. And that
Talk
was my
about
thing.
coaching.
Yes.
And that was my thing.
Roy.
So
Roy.
you totally missed in the history. I think University of North Carolina has been around
Never
in
had a
existence.
black head coach.
It's been in existence.
Listen,
for
they
over,
was like
over
even the
100
white folks
years.
was like, "What you doing, Hubert?
And-
You about to mess it up
and
for us too."
all- and they were giving you kudos and they were giving you accolades based upon you being a good coach. And now you're the first African American coach here. And then you get up and you say, "Well, I want to thank everybody, and I want to thank being the first black coach here, but I also want to thank my white wife."
Yes,
it wasn't
necessary. It wasn't necessary.
When he made that statement, he totally negated everything that he said prior to that.
He had nothing to do with you getting to where you were, sir.
So my thing is this, dog. So look here, dog. Why don't you take you and your white wife and y'all go off into the chariots?
But
and
she
y'all
had
go
nothing
ahead
to
and
do
go.
with the accolades.
No, she had nothing to do with it. She had nothing to do with it. But what happened is when he opened his mouth, when he opened his mouth, he made that about his white wife, and I think that's the problem. That's really what the issue became.
He made it about them, and
he
you know what I'm saying.
point.
So he totally missed it. He totally missed everything. Which
how
is
you go from first black coach to Stephen from Django in 30 seconds. Hubert Davis just let us know how that.
That's funny.
Hubert Davis, that's what you did, sir.
Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. The sad part about it, it really.
He went straight Sam Jackson.
Well, look, it really overlooked. Okay, let's just take color out. It overshadowed all his credentials and the things that he has worked for. Because here's the thing, you can't miss that Hubert Davis is black. We know that. We all know that. And I'm sure people over there know his wife is white. All that stuff was not relevant until you made it relevant.
Right. Exactly.
Well, from my personal experience, I just said that he obviously did not have somebody black on his publicist team to give him the question. And if he didn't want to have this,
like how you know that was he knew that was
potential of being the first black for UNC, then you could have still deflected your answer if you had team around you.
He knew he was gonna get that question, and that was his.
No, he had already been getting the question.
Wait.
You know what?
That was his answer that he practiced.
But you know what?
That's funny, Chad. That's funny.
When you look at Hubert Davis,
answer.
We talking about practice.
He kept bringing that one point up. He
not a game.
Right back to that one point. I am, but he practiced that at home.
When you look at Hubert Davis, I'm not disappointed and I'm not really upset. I'm not disappointed and I'm not upset because he looked like one of them Lester Holt, O.J. Simpson ass niggas. So I'm not really.
Not Lester Holt.
You know what I'm saying?
We like Lester. We like Lester.
Lester like that.
We like Lester. So Lester Holt ass nigga.
Oh my God!
You leave Lester alone.
Woods or Hoda Cosby, something like that, but not Lester Holt.
We even like Hoda.
But keep it real. I'm gonna pose this question to the panel. I'm gonna pose this question to my fellow comrades and constituents. Can't you look at a brother? Can't you, especially a prominent brother, and you can almost deduce or know just from looking at him if he has a white wife?
If they got that tape to go around like that, they got the tape to go like that. They got the tape to go like that.
I respect these brothers. I respect these brothers, but they all fall in the same category for me.
So look at bro.
Hold on. When you look at a Lester Holt, when you look at a Craig Melvin, when you look at a Hubert Davis, when you look at a
no, we ain't talking about Lester.
No, Lester is not.
So look here. You don't want to come to the OVAP convention then, because y'all gonna be mad.
Shoot, y'all go to California, you're gonna be really mad.
No, I know that. I already know.
Listen,
hey boy,
Hubert Davis got the same haircut
convention?
that the Attorney General from Kentucky got.
Daniel Cameron.
Stupid.
I'm just saying.
Hey,
they all go to the same barber. They be like, give me the black Power Ranger cut, please.
You stupid, Dwight.
Let me get the black Power Ranger cut on the fleet.
Dwight, them boys get their haircut at Supercuts. They ain't going to the hood.
Right.
That half moon.
Right. The half moon.
Like, don't square it up. Don't square it up. Give it a half moon.
The very thing
you talking about that Wayne Brady haircut.
Right,
exactly.
Right. The thing that kills me about the AG, about the AG in Kentucky, he professed. He said, so there are going to be people who are going to tell you that and they're going to tell you about our way of living in Kentucky.
Crazy.
Don't let them tell you about our way of living in Kentucky. I was like, way of living in Kentucky. So what is your way of living? What's your way different?
First of all, the only thing people knew about Kentucky was 11 herbs and spices. So don't nobody know about that.
That's it. That's it. Now for us, the best thing that came out of Frankfurt, Kentucky was Midnight Star.
Okay.
There you go date yourself again.
I'm dating myself.
Look,
I'm with you, Latif. I'm with you,
is
Latif.
that time for you, Miles? Do they Midnight Star say Secret Level?
No,
or
that's
am I wrong?
Atlantic Star. That's Atlantic.
Oh, I'm sorry, my bad.
Atlantic Star.
That's 10 years. That's 10 years later, TT.
Play another slow jam.
Look, I dated myself.
Play another slow jam.
I'm younger than
that's a whole nother generation, TT.
That meant I was younger than
I didn't know.
Play another slow jam. And that's
Okay.
But you're older than me, TT. You're older than me, TT.
Not that far. Don't act like that. Don't act like that.
But hold on. So those two know all these songs because that's all they listen to when they roll with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. This dude, but man.
When
Don't get me
music
started.
is playing
Don't
in
get me
your
started
house
on Daniel Cameron, married to Mitch
you hear it
McConnell's
all.
daughter and whatnot, talking
Easy.
about Kentucky. Child, please.
That's what I'm saying. Throw
But
them all in the same category.
I just want
with
Hubert to
Tiger.
come out the
And
sunken
y'all
place,
know
sir.
how I feel about Tiger. So
Hey, so look, so
You
now,
leave Tiger alone. Leave Tiger alone.
Tiger got
Now
that
I'm
same
rooting
haircut too, though,
That's
right?
Jessica homeboy.
thank you, Dwight. Thank you.
That's Jessica homeboy.
Tiger ain't got that. He ain't got his stuff was like baby hair on the top now. It's like a little bang sitting at the top.
Shut up, Roy.
It's because they kept pushing it back. It's
Tiger
like you
got that bang. Got that bang yang yang.
Listen.
Got that bang yang yang.
Listen.
Hey, and this dude can't drive. And this dude can't drive. He doing 85 in the 30, trying to go around people.
That was a reminder. That's a reminder that he's black. A reminder he's black.
Around somebody?
He probably was. And then he overcorrected and he jumped the median and was going the opposite direction. And then he flipped over into the ravine.
Listen to all the folks watching who have white wives. Listen, if you don't want us to clown you on this show, just go to a black barbershop and pick one off the wall. Anyone with a faded poster on the wall would be fine. But you got to go. If you coming in with a picture again, if you coming in with a picture of the Black Power Ranger, talking about.
But Dwight, this is
the one.
This is the thing. This is the thing, though. When they go to the black barbershop, they're gonna go to the empty chair. That's not the one you go to.
I get that, but at least pick the picture off the wall right. You know, at least the dude in the empty chair gonna try.
Well, here's the thing: they're not going to the black barbershop. You know they're going to Supercuts.
Yo, wait a minute. What?
Yeah,
he was pressing the gas at the point of when he went over.
He pressed the gas. He accelerated.
Jay, what did I say? What did I say? Remember, I told you. I said
he's struggling.
Y'all know, he black when black folk gossip about you. He black.
Look, I'll tell you this. When I told her, I didn't remember you telling me that, and I'm sure you did. But that was the first thing that I thought. When
I said maybe he was trying to end it.
Accelerator.
And it just didn't work out.
We talked about that. He might have tried to commit suicide.
I said it. I said he was trying to, but it may not have worked out correctly. That car was too safe.
I mean, but why is he trying to commit suicide? What's
because he been getting his haircut wrong for the last 30 years.
Damn, Dwight.
It's full circle.
And Dwight, you say it with such a straight face. You've been going to the wrong barber.
Trying to commit suicide, okay?
I cannot breathe.
You have your own.
You say that with so sincerity. He's going to the wrong damn barber.
Shit, bro.
Cut your stuff right.
Listen. Barbers have been therapists for the black community for the last 111 years. Okay,
What about
he could have been working out all his problems sitting in that chair, but no.
What about sport?
Like you say, you don't lay down when you go to the therapy. Your chair is supposed to spin around in circles when you go get therapy.
You know, it's supposed to be a brother. You're like, what's going on, family? What you got? What's going on? Man, my wife.
Richmond Heights Barbershop. Richmond Heights Barbershop was the epicenter.
And here's the thing. I was gonna say Tiger Woods was black because his friends used to hang out with Charles Barkley and Michael Jordan. Then I was like, damn, they women ain't black either. I'm like,
you're right. That's a stretch.
Okay.
And they're both.
Wasn't always like that for Mike. Wasn't always like that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't
always like that for Mike.
You can't keep reaching. Now you're reaching.
I'm trying to help Tiger. Y'all leave Tiger alone.
Listen, ain't no helping Tiger.
Now,
you might put y'all kids through school.
Here you go, Roy.
Next show, we're gonna bring a teacup and just tap that.
Tiger Woods, y'all.
Release them from the sunken place.
Tiger Woods. I like it.
Tiger Woods, y'all. Y'all know all y'all claim Tiger Woods when he was winning. Y'all want to put y'all kids in some golf clubs too. All y'all was. You too, Ebony. You went to the golf course. And you went to the driving range. Lateef, Miles, all y'all went to the driving range when Tiger was playing.
Two things right over that channel. He's on CBS Channel 4 when they be showing the golf, and he was on. I went to Channel 6. Thank you.
Go ahead, Jessica.
Why you internet yelling?
It's two
Hold
things
on, be quiet.
this show gonna go to. It's gonna either go to Tiger Woods or Entanglement.
Yeah,
Entanglement.
Right.
We can't get rid of them too. We can't.
I was trying to pull it to you, Miles. That's why I was like, Secret Lovers.
Miles got issues.
That's why I was trying to pull it to you, Miles. I'm sorry, but it wasn't the right.
But for the record, I don't want my ratchetness to ever be documented. And on that note, you can close.
It's too late. You put it out every Tuesday.
Talk about it.
It's too late.
What is Ratchet Tuesday?
He put it out every week. It's too late.
Friday. Ratchet what?
Ratchet Wednesday, baby.
Ratchet Wednesday. Yeah, there we go.
and Miles standing there, he's standing like he hard, like he about to do something in every picture.
That's right.
Make us all feel all unsafe.
And I always put my kids in the.
We are
maturing up there.
Well, y'all. Thank you.